Mary Selecky, Secretary of Washington's Department of Health, is a leader known for her intelligence. Selecky grew up in rural Pennsylvania with 6 brothers and sisters. She learned early leadership lessons around the family table.
I do love public service. I mean, when I say that, my folks would always ask us when we'd say, gee, how come they are or they aren't doing this, that, or the other? And they'd say, well, what about you? Why aren't you the one stepping up to the mark? Why aren't you taking it on? And there is actually a poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, A Psalm of Life. And it ends with, let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait. And my dad would say that at the table, and all of us can recite it in the family. And when I think about the groundings I have, it was about service to someone else, service to somebody who didn't have something I had. And I really do love that. And when I look at all my brothers and sisters in very different ways, they're all engaged in a similar kind of thing. I'm the public servant out of the group, though, out of the 7. Yeah. Well, when you're in a small town, you don't have a lot of assets readily available to you, and you have to search out partners, you have to search out people and even other communities who might be able to help you solve your issue in your community. In a rural town, you know that you can't do it alone because it'll take the village, as it were. And in healthcare particularly, it was really important for me to understand what was going on at the hospital, what was going on at the nursing home. I helped create the hospice because we didn't have one. And what we did was borrow ideas from other communities. And when Spokane Hospice, for example, wanted to partner with us, we were kind of ready. But initially we had to learn things on our own. So when you think about the experiences right on the ground, where you've got to roll up your sleeves, try to figure out what the issue is, look for the result, I use that every day in my work at the state level. First question is, who else needs to be involved in this? You know, this isn't just about us. Who's going to be impacted by it? And will this be the right decision 5 years from now? Well, they have to be an individual that I can trust and that they can engender trust in someone else. Because without that trust, you really can't move molehills or mountains. So you've got to get some trust. They have to be brave. If they're going to run at the first skirmish, I need somebody who can be brave, because we get a lot of, slings and arrows and all those kinds of things that are tossed at us, and and every one of them can hurt as an individual, but as an individual who's responsible for a governmental organization, you've got to be able to hear it and move it on, so that they've got to be brave. They have to be risk takers, but be wise about their risks. Because everybody wants progress, but no one wants change. And somewhere in between those things, you really do have to do both. And they have to understand that sometimes you need patience, that things don't change overnight, that there are hoops to go through, report backs, time that's needed to get things done. If I can find those things in those individuals, and I work with an incredible team of people, but also that they have different individual personality traits that help a team do its job. Not everybody should be an analytical. Not everybody should be the one who wants the stage. Not everyone should be the one who says, but when is this going to get done? You need a whole variety of folks. You really need to create a team, but they need some common traits. From a health standpoint, that we really have made a difference in people's health through reduced smoking, from a health standpoint. My responsibility is to improve people's health as Secretary of Health. And I think that is one that will pay dividends to the population of the state for many, many generations. from a leadership standpoint, responsible for an agency with 1,400 people, that we had a learning culture, that people could learn from each other, learn from mistakes, learn from successes, and that we were able to share those kinds of learnings to improve the work we did. From a community standpoint, that we respected all the views that were out there. You know, I mean, we may end up with a policy statement that people agree or don't agree with, or a change in a program, but we were able to hear what they had to say about it, that we were open to that. That's what I'd like for any kind of imprint I would leave for my service in state government.